Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm so excited that you guys are back for part 3 of the Body Systems class series. Tonight is all about the nervous system. So if you missed the first couple of weeks, we covered immune system and the cardiovascular system. So if you want to know more about those, you can go find those archived in my videos on my profile. Tonight we're going to cover the nervous system. This is quite intricate, and I've kept it super simple because the more I got into it, the longer this video is going to take, and quite honestly, the more I got a little beyond my points of understanding. But what I love most about supporting our bodies with natural options is that we don't have to be a PhD in science and understand how everything works and ties together. We can learn something about our body and learn something about how a natural source can help us, and we can use them, and that natural source goes in and gives our body exactly what we need on its own. We don't have to tell it what to do. So I'm really, really thankful for that. But with that said, let's jump into this and get you guys in and out because I know that we all have other things to do. So what does the central nervous include, or what does the nervous system include as far as physically parts of it in our body? So the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system is how this is kind of broken down. And then each of those have two components. The central includes the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral involves the ganglia and nerves. The brain is really important. It's like the computer system, like a CPU for the body. So it sends and receives chemical and electrical signals throughout the body. Different signals are going to process different things. So some are going to make you feel tired, others may make you aware that there is pain somewhere in your body. Some messages are kept in the brain, other ones are going to travel all over the body to send those different messages back and forth. The spinal cord is basically the messenger for that CPU in the brain, as it's going to take those messages and send them to all of the different parts across the body. The ganglia are clusters of nerve cell bodies. There are two types, sensory and motor. In the spine, the motor ganglia form a long chain from the base of the skull down to the end of the spine. So that is huge in how the spine can communicate with the rest of the body. And the nerves are enclosed cable-like bundles of nerve fibers and axons, and these exist in that peripheral nervous system. And it transmits the electrical impulses and is pretty much what we consider the basic unit in the peripheral nervous system. Let's look at how to keep our brain healthy, because if that's our computer, we really need to keep that functioning at its highest to keep everything else healthy in the way we want. So the first thing, and this is important for every aspect of our health, but the first thing that you really want to look at when you're helping your brain is eating a healthy diet. Good nutrition helps the mind as well as the body, and I have found that to be so true in even helping with my emotions in the past year. Some people really like to eat what they call a Mediterranean style diet that emphasizes fruits, vegetables, fish, nuts, unsaturated oils like olive oil, and plant sources of protein. And some think that they're less likely to develop cognitive impairment and dementia by eating that type of diet. So I don't know how proven scientifically or whatever that diet may be for helping avoid those things, but I can tell you that the nutrition in those foods are definitely going to be good for the brain. You also want to get exercise. Research shows that using your muscles also helps the mind. They found that in some animals, when they exercised, the oxygen rich blood to the region of the brain was, I'm sorry, I misread that. They found that it brought oxygen-rich blood to the region of the brain that is responsible for thought. My thought was not processing that sentence correctly. So that's interesting that exercise helps to clear your thoughts, which I think is why a lot of people will go run or walk when they are stressed and dealing with that kind of thing. So that's really interesting. Exercise also spurs the development of new nerve cells and increases connections between brain cells. So that's pretty cool. Mental stimulation is also important, as it involves the mind, and the mind is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it's going to atrophy and become worse and worse, basically weaker and weaker. So don't just sit and consume things. Television and entertainment and that sort of thing has its place, but do things that challenge your mind. Learn something new, like watching one of these videos, or read a book, or play a game that makes you strategize, something like that. It doesn't have to just be learning. It can be something fun, but do something that engages your mind. You also want to avoid tobacco and alcohol. Studies have shown that drinking is a major risk factor for dementia. So that's just one thing. Also, care for your emotional health. Those who struggle emotionally do not function as well mentally. And I can say that this is very true for me in the last year when I have highly emotional days, or I'm struggling with anxiety very badly. It really can be hard to function on a normal cognitive level. I will go to do something and just stand there almost in a fog, knowing that I should know what I'm doing and I should know how I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm just kind of in neutral and I can't get my brain in gear. And also build a social network. Having friends can lower your risk for dementia and cognitive impairment. So friends are so important on many health type of levels, but if they can help keep your brain healthy, which then is going to impact your nerves as well, it's important to have that group of friends to support you and to really have friends who truly care about you. Spinal cord health is next, because that is our messenger across the entire body. So you really want to just be wise in things you do. This is not on the slide, but excess risks and that sort of thing. You can just not take those. Be careful with what you do with your spinal cord. Take necessary precautions. But also exercise. This helps to keep it strong, and it is more likely to stay aligned. So when your spine is misaligned, nerves struggle to communicate because some of them can be pinched off or tweaked or crossed or whatever. They're not where they're supposed to be, and there's not the room for them to exist and then communicate with the body the way they should. Massages can also help, as they relax the muscles and can increase blood flow and induce feelings of relaxation. Chiropractor care, y'all, this is huge. If there is one non-drug type thing, I guess, that I would strongly preach, promote, encourage, it is chiropractic care. And for me specifically, I have a chiropractor who's a specialist in upper cervical. He is my superhero. I dealt with migraines for years and years, from like 11 to the time I was 24. I think somewhere in there, 13, 14 years, something like that. And he helped me to stop my migraines by actually truly getting my body aligned and focusing on that atlas bone, which is right at the base of the skull, top of the spinal cord. That is what has to be in place, and it's not focused on by a typical chiropractor necessarily. I had one, and it just got to the point where I was so bad at it, typical chiropractic care wasn't making a difference. So switching to that upper cervical specialist changed my life. I did a lot of other things that also helped with that, as far as ditching toxins, balancing my hormones and whatnot. But chiropractors, y'all, they're amazing. Amazing. And I hope that the world is never without them. So do that so that you can properly get those signals sent through your body. And then also proper posture, paying attention to this while you're sitting and while you're standing, or even laying. I know when you sleep, you end up in whatever position, but when you go to sleep, try to lay in a position that's conducive to having everything aligned. Foods for nerve health. Okay, we talked about food a couple slides ago when we were talking about the brain, but let's look at some specific foods that can help your nerve health. I know I typically break like all the parts of the system down. I could not find things on ganglia and the nerves specifically. My search engine just didn't know what to do with that. So we're going to move on to some foods, because foods can heal the body. These are natural resources that God has given us that I believe if we know how to properly utilize them and what our body needs from them, we can thrive. So stay away from artificial sweeteners. They are terrible for your brain. And I'm talking things like aspartame and sucralose. These are constantly used in products that flout the fact that they are sugar-free. This is sugar-free. Okay, I'm gonna pick on one. Ice, sparkling flavored waters. I used to love those, and I was so excited that I had found them because they were sugar-free, and I don't like to drink plain water. So when I was first coming into the healthy food world, like 6 years ago, I was super excited to find these because they had flavor and there was no sugar. Found out later, these are terrible for the brain. So I got off of those pretty quick. If we're talking safe sweeteners, you're looking for things like xylitol, erythritol, and stevia. Monk fruit extract even is a good option. So there are options, but avoid sucralose and aspartame at all costs. They are just as bad, if not worse, than sugar. But they have been linked to things like fibromyalgia and even seizures, which are connected to the nervous system. You also want to eat raw food as much as possible. We love cooked things, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just keep in mind that the longer you cook something, the more nutrition it's going to lose. Vitamin C, some studies suggest that it may reduce nerve pain, promote the repair of damaged nerves, slow aging, boost your metabolism, and potentially reduce the risk of autoimmune diseases. So some food options that you have to find vitamin C would be bell peppers, sweet peppers, hot peppers, spinach, thyme, parsley, papaya, kale, mustard greens, spinach, cauliflower, broccoli, grapefruit, Brussels sprouts, oranges, lemon, limes, cherries, black currants, melon, kiwi, strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, tomatoes, and blackberries. It's in a lot of things. And if I whiz through that, I'm sorry. If you want the list, let me know. Then also good fats that are high in omega-3s. These may support the body's natural inflammation response, reduce nerve pain, and promote and maintain overall nerve health and healing. So food sources for good omega-3s would be salmon, tuna, halibut, flaxseed, chia seeds, fish broth, basil, eggs, oregano, broccoli, spinach, Brussels sprouts, olive oil, nuts, tofu, green beans, kale, cabbage, and strawberries. And again, if you want those, just shoot me a message. Then vitamin Bs. Specifically vitamin Bs 1, 2, and 12, and kind of also 6, but we'll talk about that. So vitamin B1 helps turn carbs into energy that the nerves need to function. And you can find B1 in lentils, green peas, navy beans, black beans, and sunflower seeds. Vitamin B2. So you have to have vitamin B6 to allow the body to absorb vitamin B12, but 2 allows the body to absorb number 6. So you got to have 6 to get 12, and you got to have 2 to get the 6. So that's why I love taking a vitamin B complex that has them all, because the absorption factor is huge. That is why so many of the supplements on the market today don't work. They do not pair vitamins and minerals and things together so the body actually gets what it needs. So keep that in mind when looking at supplement options. That's one of the reasons why I will not take anything but a Young Living supplement. One, I trust their purity 100%. I have absolutely no doubt that what I'm putting in my body is good for me and is going to work for me. And second, you have to have those vitamin and mineral combinations, and Young Living takes years to study out these things before they produce any one of our supplements. And things on the shelf at Walmart and Walgreens and CVS and anywhere else like that don't necessarily have that. I'm not saying there aren't other good brands out there. There may be. For me, it's just Young Living, and I've taken other supplements from other places before and just not seen results in anything. But you need 12. Oh, wait, let me tell you. Vitamin B2 comes in spinach, soybeans, almonds, asparagus, and beet greens. Sorry, I kind of rabbit trailed on you there. Vitamin B12 is needed for the nerves to function properly, and a deficiency of it can contribute to nerve pain. So you can find B12 in beets, fish, shellfish, milk, eggs, some dairy products, poultry, and meat. So you got lots of different options there. Then also antioxidants. These have been used to manage nerve pain and diabetic neuropathy in some cases. You can find them in blueberries, beans, fish, walnuts, and dark leafy vegetables. Water, because everything works better when we're properly hydrated, including our brain. And if you've ever looked at how much of our brain is actually like water matter, it's crazy. I forgot to write down the statistic and I don't want to give you a wrong one, but just go Google it. It's over 50%. I'm really confident in saying that. So you need a lot of water. And that is something I work on all the time because I haven't mastered that one. And then ginger has been proven to cut back on pain because of the compound called gingerols, I believe, Gingerols. So go research that a little bit more. I'm fascinated too because I didn't have the time to go search that real deep while I was trying to put this together. But I'm excited to see what is there. So this slide here, the information that I just gave you, all came from neuropathycure.org. This is not original with me. That was a post they made, and I just want to give them proper credit for the information that they put out there. So let's look at some system support options that you can grab through Young Living. So first off would be our Ginger Vitality Oil. You can take this in a capsule, you can cook with it, bake with it, just rub it on like your brainstem, and the bottom of your big toe is a VitaFlex point for the brain. And if you don't know about VitaFlex, go Google that. It's a chart like on feet and hands and things that show you where to apply or put pressure on the body so that it interacts with different systems of the body. It's fascinating. Maybe I'll add an 11th week and do a whole class on VitaFlex, but we'll see. Then also Ningxia Red. This is our powerhouse juice that I talk about in every single class. And the reason I talk about it is because it benefits everything. There is not a person on this planet who should not be drinking Ningxia Red unless for some odd reason you're allergic to stevia or something like that, because it does contain stevia. And I do know a couple people who are allergic to stevia, so they are my exceptions to this rule. But everybody else should be drinking at least an ounce of Ningxia Red every day. And specifically for this, it's because Ningxia Red is packed full of those antioxidants that help to keep the brain and everything in the body functioning the way we want it to. Then also mind-wise, this is something I take every day, and to be quite honest, I don't enjoy it. It reminds me of pickle juice, so really not something I like to take. But the ingredients in this that support the brain are so highly effective that I cannot stop taking this. I started taking it midway through December last year when I was really struggling emotionally because of different things in my brain not firing the way they should. So a friend suggested that I start taking it to help flip all those proper switches in my brain. It made such a difference in just even the first couple of weeks that I could not deny or ignore what was happening. It was just impossible to miss. And I've taken it consistently since last December. So what, we're basically like 6 months now, almost middle of this month will be six months. And my mental well-being has shifted immensely. This does contain a nut product, so if you are allergic to nuts, this is not an option for you. But we can talk some other options if that's something you need. But just kind of on the side note, let me say that if you are struggling emotionally, you do not have to stay there. There are options for you. And I am more than happy to tell you about them from my own personal experience, because it's not fun. And I don't want anybody to be in that kind of position. But if I go even a couple of days without MindWise, I can feel a difference. And I know that I have to get right back to just literally being disciplined enough to take it. Then Omega Gize 3, this is Young Living's supplement with omega-3, those healthy fats. Fantastic. I've taken this before. It's been a while since I've taken it, to be quite honest, because I just have so many other things that I need to get back on that one. Life 9, this is our probiotic, and I'm not sure why this is on here. Why did I put this on here? Oh, I remember. Sorry. Probiotics and gut health, they call your gut the second brain. And there's like the gut-brain connection and all that. So keeping our gut healthy is just tied to so many parts of our body functioning correctly. So that's why I put that here. Because, yeah, I was like, y'all, I don't remember why I put that there. That's why. So, good probiotic. Take it at night right before bed. It's just a small little capsule. Super easy. Keep them refrigerated after you open them, though. That's what the bottle says, and lots of people miss it. Super B, this is the vitamin B complex that I choose to take. It has all of the vitamin B's in it. So again, you've got that synchronized effect that you need for the body to absorb all the different things and help you flip those correct switches in the brain that also help the nerves and all that. Another huge key player that I take every day with my MindWise to help stabilize my emotions. And apparently my nerve system's doing great, because I've been taking those and I had no clue it was affecting that in the long run. Super C is Young Living's vitamin C complex. So this comes in a swallowable tablet, which is a little large, or they say chewable. So if swallowing something's not great for you, there's the chewable option as well. Jared prefers the chew. I prefer the tablet. We vacillate on both to keep us both happy. And then I wanted to include our Young Living Vitality Drops here as well. If you're like me and you struggle to stay hydrated because things are plain and or water is plain and boring, these can give you some flavoring options that are healthy. Our lavender lemonade and grapefruit bergamot, these are infused with electrolytes as well as the flavor. So those are great for your body. And then our newer ones are Vitality Drops Plus Energy. These have a small amount of naturally occurring caffeine in them and come in jade lemon berry and spearmint tangerine. All 4 of these taste great. My husband and I use them all the time. The jade lemon berry is probably my favorite. And of the electrolyte ones, the bergamot grapefruit bergamot, I got it backwards. But I love citrusy flavored things. So those are my favorites. The other 2 I will drink. I don't think they're terrible. I just really love the citrus in the others. So then let's just close this out fast, because this one did get a little longer because it was so involved. You're looking at, I need some of this. How do I do this, Kristen? So let's put together your own bundle. You're going to get a basic starter kit, and then we're going to add whatever of these products you want to start adding to your wellness regimen every day. So the basic kit is $25, and then whatever the member cost of the product would be. So when you get the basic kit, that gives you a lifetime membership with Young Living and access to the 24% wholesale pricing, which is the member discount. And by member, you're not getting locked into anything. It's basically just unlocking the discount for you. Then you also have the option to, well, okay, I did this backwards. Sorry, I skipped a step. To get that bundle, follow this link to go to my personal website, and I have this bundle set up for you, and you can pick and choose which ones you want and don't want, fill out all the information, follow these steps right here on the screen. Or I can send you the link. Like, you can type in what's there on the screen, or I can literally just send, well, I'll put it in the comments. You'll be able to just click the link. We'll keep this simple. So add what you want, leave what you don't. Totally up to you. And then it's going to give you an option to set up an essential rewards order, which is very soon to be called loyalty rewards. And you can see all the perks of that here on the screen. I won't go over it. I'll let you read it because this is already getting long. So that's how you can get a hold of all of those. Next week, we're going to talk about the respiratory system. So breathing freely, breathing well, keeping those lungs and all of that happy. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you next week. Thank you so much for hanging with me today, even though this was a little longer than I typically like them to be. I hope you have a fantastic week, and we will talk again soon.